All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everybody and welcome to PAPERCUTS, a webinar series for paper lovers everywhere, generously sponsored by our friends at the NPTA and at Task. NPTA, if you have paper, most likely has come through them. They are the paper distribution channel, and at Task is a really cool project management system based in the cloud. It's for marketers, created by marketers, so it's, obviously they know what we need, so that's why I kind of like it a lot. If you can change the slide, thanks. So Print Media Center I'm Deborah Korn, and I run Print Media Center, and we provide information and resources to the print and integrated marketing community. We always like to have a little fun, and that's kind of how these PAPERCUTS webinars came about. We wanted to do something a little different, a little more interactive with people. Whatever you do online and in your travels, if you're on Twitter, definitely check out our print chat every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Just follow the hashtag, and you can kind of go to printmediacenter.com and see all the other stuff that we do and information that we share. So today is the fifth in the series, in the PAPERCUTS series, Hot Applications and Cool Substrates. What are you designing, with our friends from GPA, and will be presented by Mary Ann Gears. I met GPA last year when we were preparing for Print 13, and they agreed to partner with the Printerverse, and turned out to be some of the coolest and most fun people out there. I don't know if you guys know Red Cooler Ron, but you should take a look at that and all of their social media channels. Our universe is their own social network. It's pretty cool, and they're always sharing great information. All of you who registered in time and received sample packs are aware of how generous and methodical they are when it comes to sharing samples. And people who registered after those dates, I believe that GPA has agreed to make sure you get samples after the webinar, so thank them for that. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mary Ann. And GPA, thank you for everything, your support of PMC, and especially for helping the paper people and the paper lovers of the world. It's all you.
Thank you, Deborah, and thank you to the Print Media Center for sponsoring us today, and of course the NPTA. When we decided to do this presentation, Deborah, back a couple months ago, we came up with the theme Hot Applications, and I had no idea how appropriate that would be on a day like today when the weather here in Chicago is negative 15 degrees. So hopefully we'll have some fun. I do know there are a few parts of the United States that apparently it's 75 and sunny, but today we'll try to use the love of paper to keep us warm. So just a little talk about, it's the start of 2014, and I think for my designers and marketing people out there, you're making your plans for the year and really kind of want to know what's kind of pushing the industry, both paper and printing. And there are several different applications and industries that we find that are really hot right now. We've got the list up there on the screen. Some of it's relative to where you are in the United States and the markets that are driven by your industries. But these are kind of the areas right now that we have seen that are kind of driving the printing industry and the marketing industry right now. And so with that, I'm going to kind of set off and kind of talk about some of the hottest products that we are seeing in the marketplace, a lot of them that we're stocking. And the first one that I've got here today is the Silver Mary board. So if you guys have your packet folders with you and you want to open it up, there's a nice piece there that's an invitation, I think, with a disco ball on it. Take a look at that and hold it. And Deborah and I were having a pre-conversation earlier about white ink on packaging and bags. And one of the things that's new in the industry right now are these HP Indigo digital presses that have white ink technology. And with the advent of that white ink in digital printing, it opened up the avenue for all sorts of new products where you could lay white ink down. If you take a look at that particular piece, you've got 4-color on it with no white ink behind it, ink on top of there, and the neat thing is when you're designing with that, you can get some nice layers. We have all sorts of segments that it's being used for. What's interesting to me is I've seen it both in luxury packaging, like a a box for perfume. We've seen customers using it for greeting cards, direct mail. We've even seen it in the insurance industry for a direct mail. And one of the interesting things that we found from talking to the customer was the product was so unique that the response rate was about 25% by using that stock. So moving on to rigid vinyl, we sell a lot of plastic substrates here at GPA. If you look at the pictures there, the hand holding the business card, we talked a little bit about the white ink, and one of the things that's neat about white ink is the fact that you can print a lot of unique design things with clear and white ink. And we're seeing a lot of graphic designers kind of gravitate towards clear and what the different things you can do. I like that particular shot on the screen because that business card, you can see behind it, and it's not just loaded up with ink, it's also taking a good use at the substrate. In your kits, if you take a look, you'll see a hotel card key, and that is printed on a 10 mil digital vinyl. It happens to be thermal laminated, and that particular printer actually has the ability to embed the magnetic strip on the back of it. It's kind of a neat marketing idea. There's always a conference every year, and GPA is one of the partners on it, and everybody that goes into the hotel gets a card key that says the theme of the conference and GPA. So it's one of the very interesting kind of digital marketplaces where you're not printing them on a mass sheet fed offset press. You can do some smaller work with it. The other piece on there, that tactile treasures, one of the things that we have found is that you can thermoform rigid vinyl. And that particular piece is actually done for a group called the American Printing House for the Blind. What's interesting about them is they actually take things like screws and nuts and bolts and actually lay it on a heated panel, put the vinyl on top of it, and actually thermoform for braille. So we have found that rigid vinyl has a lot of unique applications kind of beyond just a printing flat and thrown into a sign holder. Moving on to flexible vinyl. In your particular kit, you'll see a piece that says, having a party, relax, we can help. Go ahead, if you flip it over on the back side, you'll see the white liner on that. Peel that back. This is kind of a fun application. This is actually a two-sided door sign that was produced on clear. And Deborah, oftentimes I've been asked by customers, how do you print on the adhesive? And the reality is that it is not printed on the adhesive. It's actually printed on a clear substrate. This one happens to be a low-tack vinyl that is removable off the windows. The first image that's down is actually a reverse of the artwork.
I'm sorry, which sample are we looking at again? I think we need more time to go through the kits to find what.
That's all right. It says, having a party, relax, we can help. The jalapeno grill, it's orange.
I'm not sure if I see that.
Might be on the left-hand pocket.
Okay, well, I'm not sure if I have that, but
yeah. So if you look on the screen, Deborah, you'll see it.
Yeah.
Did you find it?
No, I'm looking at. I'm not trying to hold up the webinar. I'm
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you that actually have that sample, and if you're missing it, just pop Deborah a note on the webinar. We'll make sure we send it out with you on the kit. What it is a low-peel vinyl that's been reverse printed 4-color, and then there are several passes of white ink, and then we've got a barrier film that's laid down in between there for complete light blockout. That ran back through the HP Indigo press, and then they made the image right reading. And if you peel that off and put it on the door, you can read the marketing information from the inside and the outside. So it could say 2 different messages. Here we put the same message on there. It could say in, out. It could say welcome and thank you, et cetera, et cetera. That's just one of many uses on the low peel vinyl. If you look in the picture up on the right-hand corner, We have it sitting in a typical kind of fast food scenario. That same product can be used as the base film for a table display. It can also be used on the floor. It's the base film for floor graphics. So Deborah, if you've ever been into a grocery store or a bank and you see decals on the floor, the base film on it happens to be this white flexible vinyl. And then typically in certain environments you would put different overlaminates on top of it. There are overlaminates that are designed for carpets, overlaminates that are designed for hard surface floor, and even to the point that there's different surface texture on them. Some people like them with a pebbly finish, some like them with a smooth gloss finish.
So in regards to this and pretty much moving forward, is specialized equipment needed to print or create any of these applications?
So the low-tech vinyl can be run on a sheet-fed offset press. It can be run on a toner-based technology such as Konica Minolta, Xerox. It can also be run on an HP Indigo. So to do this particular sign, the two-way, yes, you need to have a piece of laminating equipment to laminate the barrier in between there. But in general, the usage, for example, on the window, freezer doors in grocery stores, things like that, you can just print it on any of those three technology platforms. Like I said, sheet-fed offset, toner-based digital, or HP Indigo. It cannot be printed desktop, though, like a desktop inkjet printer. The ink would write right off of it.
And I'm assuming that if a printer wanted more information on how to make this happen, that you guys have like people that do that, right?
Yeah, and then on the bottom of it, and I'm sad that you don't have it with you, Deborah, we actually print some of the production notes on the bottom of the piece.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it kind of gives them a little bit of a clue as to how it's done. And we do that for the sole purpose of both our designers and our printing friends, that they have some sort of idea. But it sounds difficult, but it's actually pretty simple to do. We've even taken that particular product and we do a marketing piece with it on every month. And if you look down in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see a February calendar. It's actually a little promotional piece that we send out to our customers. Our reps give it out and the customers get it when you order samples from us every month. And the adhesive is a repositionable adhesive that's designed to cleanly remove up to 6 months off of latex painted walls, wood, glass, and metal. So it has a lot of really interesting characteristics. And I always like to tell people that, when you're considering your adhesives, talk with your supplier about what you're expecting it to do. With the weather that we're having out today, with it being -15, there's no way you could stick a label on anything right now outdoors. But, in regular weather down there in Florida where you're 50-some degrees, you could stick this easily on a window today, and it would do what it's supposed to do, which is stick to the window.
Cool. I have that sample, by the way, so yay.
Yay. So did you peel back the liner?
Well, I don't want to ruin it, but I will.
Don't pull it off. Just peel it back halfway.
Okay.
So we talked a little bit about some of the different vertical markets. One of the things that we see that's a big moving marketplace is the photo marketplace. Everybody's got a smartphone, everybody's got a laptop, everybody's taking pictures. The key to those things is how do you get that out of your camera, off your laptop, into something that's usable. If you look in your kit, you will find a little book, or actually a little page that says Ultra Digital Lay Flat Photo Specialty Paper. And pull that out. If you get a chance, go ahead and open it up. It's got a couple different folds on it. So one of the things that we have found is in the book industry, everybody wants some sort of photo memory book. And there's a lot of online providers for those things. This is a product that is out there in the market that's very unique. It's got a laminated polyester hinge. And the neat thing about that is the fact that it does not add any thickness to the page. So if people are familiar with perfect binding books, how they get kind of that hump in the center of it. By nature of that being a little bit flatter there and binding that into the center of the piece, you can do that and you'll have an absolutely lay flat book when you open up the spreads. When you look at that sheet too, one of the things that we did in the book production industry, we'll show you the best way to use the sheet. It is slightly expensive with that polyester sitting on there. So we show it with a layout of 2 different sheets on the page, so it can be easily used as far as the product. And then if you flip it over, you'll see all the different products that it comes in. We have a lot of people that like to use the felt finish because it's got a nice tactile finish. We've got the pearl product that we'll talk a little bit about that makes the photography look very lustrous on the piece. But what's interesting is we thought the only application that graphic designers would find for this would be photo memory books, and like designers are, they find all kinds of interesting things for it. We've seen high-end real estate books for those million-dollar condos sitting on the river somewhere where they actually produce a one-off book to sell that condo. We've seen a lot of major companies do it as a corporate capability brochure. There's a series of ad agencies in the market area in the Midwest that I handle that have actually taken their portfolio and produced it into a digital book, used these pages, and they could come out with a very high-end book that they use as a leave behind for their customer. It's kind of a unique way to use it. Now this next product that we have is one of our new ones, and when I first saw this up at the Print 13 show, I got super excited about the product. The sad thing I'm going to tell you today is this product is so hot, we ran out of this and could not put it in the folder, so there will be a follow-up mailer coming out to everybody so you can feel this piece. What I like about it is the tactile on it. It's very smooth. It's actually like a pearl paper, if you're familiar with them, that's been calendared, almost like a gloss paper, but it has the pearl techniques. And indigo ink in particular is transparent, just like the offset inks are transparent. And that combination of that transparent ink and the pearlized of that paper coming through makes everything have kind of a luster and a sheen that's very, very unique. Because of that, we are selling this like crazy. Like I said, we first introduced it, I think, back in September. We're finding people, everything from luxury car, automotive direct mail things, so for example, a Cadillac or a Mercedes where they really want to direct it to somebody that has an expensive feel, all the way into cosmetic and beauty. And if you take a look at it, you'll see on those photos there just some of the usage that we have seen on that particular product. But for market segments, I would say anywhere where you want to make a big impression. The stock has a really nice hand to it. I always think about paper and how it touches and feels. And the combination of the silky feel and that kind of shimmery look to it is very, very unique. So we're going to move on from soft silky paper to Cling Z. So if you look in your kit, you will actually see a printed flower in there. And I don't care if you are in Minnesota right now or if you're in Florida, I'd like you to peel that off the back of that liner and stick it somewhere, either to your laptop screen, the wall, maybe on your left or your right, onto your desk. And this is Cling Z. And Cling Z's been around for a long time. It's an electrostatically charged, very thin polypropylene. It comes in clear and white. And the way I like to describe it to most people easily is it's like rubbing your head on a balloon and sticking it to the wall. Almost that technology, only magnified on a sheet. And there you have Cling Z. It's either digitally produced, and it will only work on the HP Indigo sheet fed presses. It could be used on the flatbed wide format presses and then sheet fed offset. It does not like toner technology. It does not like inkjet technology with water. But what's really cool about this is you can stick it either non-ink side or ink side. It moves around very easily, and marketing people love this. For example, GameCube, PlayStation games, things like that. If you think about where they're going to go, it's going to go in everywhere from a big box store to a GameStop to whatever. And one of the challenges with the marketing people is trying to come up with a POP substrate that will work pretty much both on glass, on wood, on metal. This will work on stucco. It has no adhesive on it, and it's easily changeable. So this is one of the products that go out. Also, if you look, you'll see Talk with Your Pharmacist on the lower corner there. Out on the East Coast, where all the pharmaceutical companies are, they love this product. We call it the Disease of the Week poster, and I say that with a lot of love in my heart. The poor pharmaceutical rep doesn't get much time with the doctor's office, and they have to try to get their brand message up as fast as they can. So this will stick to the back of the doors in the doctor's office or the wallpaper. They get about 15 minutes to come in, change the poster, put the new one up, take the new disease up, new disease down, get them out the door. So this is a big, big product in the pharmaceutical industry.
Okay, I have crazy questions about this.
Good, go.
So I'm having a lot of fun, by the way. I've stuck it on a coffee mug. I mean, it's pretty much sticking to everything. But now I'm actually obsessed with the paper it came on.
Oh, the liner.
Yeah, what is sticky on that?
So
that's not sticky.
That's a dry release technology, Deborah, and that was designed for this product so it can go through digital presses and not peel off. So it has to be there so it stays, but there so it peels off. So we call that dry release technology.
That's really
the board
cool.
stock itself is actually a C1S board product, a 10-point. And what's cool is you can actually print on the back side. So we've actually seen magazine inserts where somebody has put it in there. They did a little kiss cut on the face so it could peel off, so the board liner stays in the magazine, and then the customer or the consumer can actually peel that off and put it on their wall or their refrigerator. A cough drop company had done a really nice piece on that. But yeah, that's dry release technology. I'm glad you noticed that. It's kind of fun, isn't it?
It's really cool. It's a lot better than Scotch tape for me. Somebody wants to know, Ashleah wants to know, how long does the Kling Z stay electrically charged?
So that kind of depends upon the environment it's in. So when it's digitally produced, we actually like to say 1 to 2 months. When it's sheet-fed offset used, we usually say 6 months or less. So the thing about it, you notice that film or that paper that it's printed on is pretty lightweight. It has a tendency to, if it was in a door where there would be a draft, it could blow off in the wind because it's lightweight. Also, and I'm a techno geek, Deborah, and you know this, static electricity is lazy. So remember I told you this has been kind of zapped, and it's actually, when I went to the factory where they make it, they actually zap it with like a rod, almost kind of like Benjamin Franklin kind of thing, and the key on the kite. Static electricity leaves. So if this gets moved a lot, eventually over time the static electricity will disperse into the air and it won't stick as well. So if you put it up and leave it alone, I've had it last upwards to a year, but if you pick it up and move it around and there's dirt on the wall, or lint, dirt will stick to it, lint will stick to it, and I always say that lint doesn't stick very good to the wall once it's on the back of the Kling Z. So I would safely say digitally 1 to 2 months. I would say sheet-fed offset 3 to 6 months. And
okay, also, I'm sorry, I just want to just say that I'm not sure exactly what we can do about this, and if anyone's having a problem hearing me, let me know, but they're saying that the sound is going in and out with you.
Got it. All right.
So maybe we can just talk a little slower, might help, and I don't know what else we could possibly do. If people can hear me, though, without it cracking or fading in and out, let me know, because I'm on a headset and that might be the difference here.
Got it. Yeah, I'm sure it is. So any other questions, Deborah, that they might have on the Kling Z? Because it is very technical as far as a product and its uses.
No one's asking anything at the moment. Mostly it's talking about the sound.
Got it.
It's an internet issue. Okay. All right. I'm sorry for that. I just want to make sure that people are getting this information because you are providing a crapload of really good stuff that people should be able to hear. So.
Yeah, and anything that later on, if there might be additional questions, they can hit our website and ask the questions there, www.askgpa.com, and they should be able to get that. And
right, it seems that most of the 75 people in here are not having that problem. So.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. So let's move on. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. The next item that we have up there is window cling vinyl, and if you look in your kit, you will actually see an ice cream piece for Wawa. How do you like that? And it says, please don't lick the freezer. I love that. Static cling, the best way I like to describe it to people is like your oil change label. Everybody's got one sitting up in the corner of your car, and that's what this is, that particular material. If you peel back the liner again, and you don't have to peel it all the way back, you'll notice there's no adhesive. There's no electrostatic charge on this. Basically what it is a vinyl that's very soft. It has a lot of oils in it, and it will stick to what we call high surface energy materials, which is basically glass. So this is something that a lot of people like to use because you can put it up very easily and there's no adhesive on the back of it. And a lot of people in marketing, a lot of designers, a lot of store POP people that I talk to don't like adhesive. It's almost like they have a phobia of Scotch tape and things like that. So this is one of those things that customers like to use, and I know Deborah's laughing because she told me she has a phobia of tape.
I've got a phobia. It's a problem. I stick it to myself.
Stick it to yourself. So this is a great product. This comes in clear and it comes in white. Again, produced through all three print venues, both digital, HP Indigo, white format, and sheet fed offset.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is that, I'm not sure if it is, but is this like a metallic ink? Is this, and if it's not, is this digitally printed or offset printed? Let me start there, because then that answers the question about the metallic pretty much.
I think that one is, yeah, this one's digitally produced. And so what you're getting, that kind of that sheen to it, Deborah, is actually the surface of the vinyl itself. Okay. Kind of has a little of that characteristic. So that was just 4-color printed direct onto the white. And I think what we're doing is we're picking off kind of the reflection and the sheen off the vinyl itself. Okay. But that is interesting. It does kind of have that look to it on there.
Dawn Rodriguez can't see it. She's jealous, but she lives down the street from a Wawa, so maybe she can go see it in person.
Yeah, or like I said, if she didn't get the kit, we'll have them back out, and I think this will be on replay so they can listen to it again and kind of walk through it.
Okay, well, we do have a question though.
Yeah.
Donna McGee would like to know, what is the lifespan of a vinyl window cling?
You know, it can be reused and used over and over again. And the reason I say that is you can apply that either like a small sign like this can just go up, dry application, and it goes up. And then in the big stores, in a big one, they'll actually use a water and a 1% soap solution and kind of go up with the soap, and it actually creates like a vacuum. So I would say that the vinyl itself has a year outdoor durability, 2-year indoor. I'm going to say the ink's going to fade before the product fails. You know, ink
crazy question. If it actually does get lint or dust on it, can you clean off the back of it?
Yes, you can. Absolutely.
And just with water or something, alcohol? What do you add? What do you do?
I would recommend water on it. Just, you know, wiping it off with a damp cloth. Usually in a store install, say that was going to go on the freezer in Wawa, Deborah, we would recommend that they open the freezer door, you know, clean off the lint off the window, and then just go ahead and apply it. But it can go up if there's a little water there. You're just going to have to squeegee it out with your hand.
Cool.
So if there are no other questions, I'm going to move on to one of our fun products that we have. If you take a look, I don't know who poor Frank Wettig is, but Frank, I've been carrying him around in my sample portfolio for a while. You guys find the door hanger that's in the back, and I want you to feel this sheet. I loosely call it paper.
It's incredible.
So it feels like soft touch paper. And it's not. It feels like a soft touch varnish, but it's not. We call it ultra green or stone paper, and this is made with limestone, and it's got about 20% high density polyethylene in it, but 80% of it is stone. And it's a really unique material that we have. We actually, for a major company in the United States, they came to us and said, we want a point of purchase material that is more environmentally friendly, that we can produce things on that can withstand water. It's tear resistant, not tear proof, and it looks like it conveys the look that we want it to look. So that's kind of how we started with this particular material. So this can be printed on sheet fed offset, HP Indigo, or flatbed UV. And it says 100% tree-free paper. Limestone is the third most abundant natural resource in the world, because a lot of times I have people ask me from an environmental perspective, how does this fit? It is something that is naturally out there, and it's very abundant. And so we have this product. Plant hang tags, it's wonderful. I've seen it used in maps. I've had it for posters on the wall where they wanted to have something where they could wipe it down in hospitals for like a sanitation purpose. The only thing we had to worry about in that, Deborah, was making sure the ink wouldn't come off with the cleaner that they had. But it's a really, really neat product. Now, one of the things I've done, like I said, working with my graphic designers, is they wanted to come up with a soft touch product that they could produce digitally in a small amount. And some of the soft touch varnishes and things are very expensive. I have sent this into customers, and every time we've sold the job as kind of a substitute for that.
Okay, we have some questions on this.
I'm sure you do.
Okay, this one I don't understand. It's from Wendy Wagner, so I'm just gonna read it as it's asked. Okay.
Okay.
How does the stone paper cost compare to a comparable SBS sheet, and how can the pulp form be thermoformed?
Okay, so SBS sheet, she's talking about a solid bleached board stock. It's going to actually be slightly more expensive than that product because it is a little bit different. We actually price it up against plastic. It would probably be about 20% less expensive than plastic. So I would say it's probably upwards to, I'd say 15% more on the SBS board. Thermoforming is a good question. I've seen it thermoformed a couple of times.
Can you just explain what that is for me and anyone else who might not know what you're talking about?
So it's taking the sheet and using heat, Deborah, to produce it into a shape, or thermoforming it. So heat meaning thermo, forming meaning shape. We're doing a little bit of work with it for, believe it or not, cell phone cases right now. I haven't seen it come all the way through. I have seen it used in the Far East, formed into bowls and things like that, kind of more of a paper bowl, not a long-term thing. I would definitely say that whatever that process would be for thermoforming, we'd want to test it. We're going through some testing processes right now. So I hope I answered that question. If that particular person wants to get some sheets to test it with their thermoformer, we can make that happen.
She actually says that is exactly what I need to know, cell phone packaging. Thank you. We have another question from Damien Dorrance. Since it's limestone, does it qualify as biodegradable?
I let that Damien ask that question of you. The limestone is biodegradable. However, it has 20% HDPE, high-density polyethylene, and that part about it is not biodegradable.
Okay. That's all in the questions, but I think this is really cool.
Yeah, and I like it. Like I said, Deborah, one of the things I think that I like about paper and then having the ability to sell paper and plastic is the fact that this has a really nice feel to it. And I think when you talk about consumers and you're handing them a brochure or they're getting something in the mail, the first thing people do is feel it along with seeing it. So it's one of those nice things I like to think about.
Actually, another question has come in from Diane Simon. She would like to know, is this gluable and or foil stampable?
So foil stampable, yes, with a quick release foil stamp, meaning not as much heat, hits it pretty hard. And the gluing and the folding, there are special glues that would need to be used with it. We've had people make pocket folders and things out of it. My recommendation is we get sample sheets to their provider for the gluing and folding and have them test it. But it's all been done before, and it works very well.
Stephanie Toll would like to know, since the paper seems heavier, does it cost more to ship?
Yes, and that's one thing that I did not say. That's a very good question. I told somebody, I said, well, since it's made with stone, it would be heavier. It does have a heavier M weight, so in a situation where you were shipping it, for example, as part of a sales kit, it would be a little bit heavier. So, yeah, that is accurate.
Okay. Good question, Stephanie.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to move along to a cool new product that we have, which is heat transfer paper. And this is actually a digital product. We don't have any samples of it in your book or your packet that you've got there. But one of the things that we are seeing, especially with online companies and the ability to make a, happy 30th birthday, Marianne T-shirt, is heat transfer paper. This particular product that we have is only used on the HP Indigo digital presses. It's what it's certified, and we're one of their preferred suppliers. But we've gone to trade shows. We've bought an inexpensive little heat mounter. If you look in that lower right-hand corner, that's our product director standing at a trade show making T-shirts that we actually put in the book that's to the left. So we actually printed on it, punched it, put it in a spiral-bound book for the D-Scoop conference, and then if you came and brought your T-shirt to the booth, we would actually stamp it onto a T-shirt. But this is kind of fun. You can put it on mouse pads, T-shirts. We've put it on aprons. You can put it on bags. And it's kind of a fun little thing where you can do it, like I said, as an insert in a magazine or a trade show. Or I always say sometimes we get calls for whenever it's softball season and somebody wants to outfit their printing company's softball team. A lot of times we'll get calls for that product. But it's something fun, and it's good to know that you can do one-off T-shirts. So bamboo and uncoated papers, when you talk about the digital space, if you look in your folder, you will see a beautiful trifold piece. It's actually for a painter and a printmaker. This was printed, believe it or not, on an HP Indigo digital press. Both the bamboo and the cotton is 150 pounds, which is very thick. It reaches almost the highest parameter on that press. The sample that we have there is actually bamboo, so that's made with the bamboo fibers. If you feel it, it has a beautiful hand to it. Reminds me of my old printmaking days in college when we would buy very high-end sheets at $2 and $3 a sheet and actually print make onto it. But this is something that's been digitally printed. We're seeing all kinds of fine art reproductions done on it, invitations, even to the point that we've got a store retailer that likes the way it feels, and their signage and hang tags are used on this particular stock every month.
The colors are showing rather amazing considering it's an uncoated stock. It's really
isn't that beautiful? Some of that, and we could get into a whole conversation about the Indigo technology, but the Indigo doesn't have any dot gain to it. They actually put a mechanical dot gain to it, so the ink actually sticks on top of the sheet, a little different than sheet fed offset, and that's why the colors remain so vibrant on that, Deborah.
It's really cool.
Yeah. So cast coated C1S, there was a big void in the market in the last 3 years. One of the major manufacturers for cast-coated papers just decided to stop producing it. It was sometimes considered kind of an old school product in the market. Interestingly enough, our customers demanded that we find a source for them. So if you look in your kit, you'll see it says Discovery Cruises. It's almost like a little passport that we produced on a cast-coated C1S sheet. This particular sample was printed on an HP Indigo press. It's very, very nice. One of the things I noticed, Deborah, when I flipped it over on the back side, where it says Discover, Explore, Relax, and Escape, it's almost like where the ink hit that. It really glossed up the ink in the blue, and then the back where that brown textured area is, it almost looks like it's kind of a combination of the ink on the stock and the imagery on it. So just to let everybody know that if they want to go back and use cast-coated, it exists.
Actually, if we just stop for 1 second, Diane Simon has a question about the bamboo paper.
Yeah.
How does the price on the 150-pound compare to regular 150-pound?
Like a 150-pound gloss? Like comparing it to gloss coated? I'd say about 20% higher than that. I mean, this is, if you feel it, it almost feels like a handmade paper. There's a lot of fiber to it. It is a more expensive product.
I mean, I just by virtue of it, I would think it was a premium sheet. Just
yes, it is. It is. The fibers are premium. 150-pound, you know, whenever you get into heavier weights on papers, it's going to increase the cost. Again, it's going to be application driven. I always like to say if you're only going to print 100 of something or 1,000 of something, the price of the paper is not as important as it is if you printed 10,000 or 100,000 of something. So I always like to put it in that context too. Pearlescent cover papers. This is one of my favorite products. If you look in your kit, you'll see a little Halloween poem that says, "When witches go riding and black cats are seen." It's an invitation. I want you to flip it over to the back side. If you're in the right lighting, this is where you can really see where the transparent ink and the stock combined together really look beautiful. This product, we stock it in a cover in 4 colors, a champagne, which is what you have here, which is the #1 selling color. There's an ice, which is more of a white, and then a gold. If you look on your screen where it says 50 years, that was a piece that I asked our marketing department to put in there because that's actually a 1-color printed piece using the gold stock as kind of a color in it. It's a gorgeous product. If you look on the picture there on the screen, you'll see the woman holding the, I don't know what she's holding there. That's a jewelry catalog that was actually produced digitally by one of our customers. It is such a beautiful piece. The funny thing about it is when we saw it, there is absolutely no piece on that brochure that has any exposed paper. The entire thing is covered with ink, but it almost looks luminescent when you hold it. And so this particular company, the designer designed it for a jewelry designer. You'll see like there's a cuff and a ring in there, and I just can't even describe how beautiful it is. But if you take a look at that invitation that we have for you, open it up, look how the black seems to shine on there. It's really a neat product. And everybody likes pearl. Synthetic paper, if you guys open up and you'll see the Chicago map that's there. This is one of those go-to products that we have available in all different sizes or calibers. We have 6 mil, 8 mil, 10 mil, 12 mil, and then for the sheet fed offset press we go up to 20 mil on this. And it's a tear-resistant, very durable stock. Has a nice feel to it. It's a matte. If you flip this over on the back side, you will see that this synthetic product was actually produced digitally on an HP Indigo press. So it's very versatile, and we've had customers use it from everything from books that go out in the garden. You'll see the Miracle Grow project guide piece. to maps, to we have a large piece of business on this for menu applications, both printed on the digital and sheet fed. Any questions on that one, Deborah?
Negative.
Negative. All righty. So pressure-sensitive papers or label papers. Label paper is everywhere. I don't think people realize how much label paper that's out there. It's everything from mailers, where if you look at the butterfly piece that we did for you, if you pick that up, Deborah, that's actually a 8-point C1S pressure-sensitive tag, and I think if people peel back the butterfly, you'll feel how thick that stock is.
Wow.
It's heavy enough to go through the mail and meet postcard specifications. You can two-side. And back in the day, when they used to make albums, record albums, and CDs, we had a large piece of business on the West Coast for the record labels where they would actually send these out, for example, for the Red Hot Chili Peppers with whatever the album design was, and they would make a little, kiss cut for whatever the image was, and they'd send it out to people to promote the record albums. That's back in the days, if you know about that. But we've had people use it for promotional pieces. I've had it used on POP displays. They like the thicker face stock so that there's no air bubbles behind it. We have it in consumer and retail goods. We have products that can be used to stick to corrugated. We have extra perm adhesives for packaging and labeling. We sell pressure-sensitive papers in any imaginable form that you might want it. Different adhesives, different face stocks, uncoated, matte, semi-gloss, and high gloss. The 8-point tag and a 10-point C1S tag. So I'm very passionate about my adhesives and my label paper. This is one of those products that I like.
Well, okay, I have a few questions about this, if you don't mind.
Sure.
First of all, can you just verify what you said? The United States Post Office will let this go through as like automated bulk mail with an indicia, the whole deal?
Yes. Yeah, because the face stock is 8-point. This actually makes thicker than a 9-point.
So they're not concerned about the sticker getting caught in their machines or anything like that?
This particular shape, I would say you're going to have to test the shape for it. We've never mailed this, but we've mailed other shapes. So I would say here, like the antenna, I mean, it shouldn't release. It shouldn't, but I think every postal service technician, they like to test them all. So I would say I would test it, but we've never had it come apart. I think it's going to be shape-specific and machinery-specific.
Okay. Now here's a crazy question. If I remove the butterfly, can I print on the paper underneath it so there's something under the butterfly if I wanted it there?
No. That's a silicone liner that's on this product.
Okay.
There are ways to do that, Deborah, in the roll flexo industry that are outside of kind of the scope of this, and that would be like a good offline question for me, but it can be done. You've seen them in the magazines before where they have like peel this tab and, it might be for lipstick or something in a women's magazine and sticking on something you're interested in, and then you'll see like a message underneath there. That's done in the roll flexo industry. There's multiple roll stands, and they have the ability to deaden adhesive, make it dead or alive, if that makes sense.
Thanks, sorry.
Any other questions?
No, I was just the only annoying one this time.
All right.
With my annoying question.
So I always like to leave it for a little bit of questions and answers, so here we are.
Very cool. So everybody who's listening, there's still a lot of you on the webinar. I'm sure you have many questions for Marianne, GPA, on substrates, paper, anything. Please feel free to ask them now. It's like the chip bowl at the party. Someone has to ask one, and then everyone will ask, but someone has to be first if they want to be.
Yep, nobody has asked me which is my favorite.
Here they come. Valerie Bell, okay, they're all coming in now. Valerie Bellamy would like to know, is the stone paper recyclable?
It's going to have a, so we have a recycle chart that we can send out. That will be a number 2 on the recyclable chart.
Okay. Mark Peterson would like to know, is the synthetic paper able to accept laminate or UV coating?
Yes to both.
Okay. Diane wants to know if I will email a link to the recording. Yes, I will actually post it on my YouTube channel in a couple of days. It takes a couple of days to process, but if you're on my webinar mailing list, you will get an email letting you know that it's up there, or just if you follow us on Twitter or Facebook or on my website, I'll post about it. Sandy Newman would like to know, is it possible to get a list of local reps so that they can get more information as it becomes available? I'm assuming that means local GPA reps.
Absolutely. We have 35 reps across the United States that cover pretty much any territory, so when we get her information, we will link her up with the correct rep.
Okay, and Stacy Maloney would like to know, on the synthetic paper, is this something that could handle laser die cuts? I love laser die cuts.
You know, we haven't done that yet, but I'm going to say yes. I don't know why it wouldn't. Given what I know about the characteristics of the product, that's one application we haven't seen yet. But again, like everything else, we always tell our customers, test, test, test. But I would see no reason why it wouldn't laser die cut.
I think we should die cut the stone paper. That would be so cool.
Yeah, well, you know, it already is in that little door hanger that it is.
No, I mean laser die cut, like really.
Yeah,
crazy.
I like that idea.
Diane Simon would like to know, are these papers available on the West Coast?
Yes. So we have the way that we are set up is we're pretty much next day delivery into any marketplace. So the answer is we've got a big warehouse out there, actually 2 or 3 warehouses out there. So yes.
Okay. Wendy Wagner would like to know, will the PowerPoint presentation be available to use as a cheat sheet? And then this is something you might also find very interesting. Can we contact GPA for suggestions on vendors that are currently using some of these substrates, especially the Indigo with the white ink capabilities?
Yes. So we know which of our customers that have it. We can recommend a good site. Not all Indigo presses have white ink. So I would say any inquiries they have, www.askgpa.com, askgpa.com, and they can send us a note. They can tell us the market area that they're in, and we can let them know, you know, who's using the substrates and who's got the white ink technology.
So that's actually the website. Do you guys have like an email address or something that they can just email you, or you're saying there's a contact form on the website?
Yeah, they can also do info@askgpa.com. Thank you, Deborah.
All right, that makes life easier.
Yeah, on our website they have the ability to order up samples and things like that too.
Okay. Are there reps in Canada or a list of paper mills who carry these substrates?
We have one rep in Canada, and we can connect them up.
So just email you at info@askgpa.com and you'll hook everybody up.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Those were some great questions. Any others before we say goodbye?
Deborah, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to be on the webinar, and hopefully everybody enjoyed it.
I'm sure they did. Can you just flip the slide before they all leave? So thank you so much for oh, wait, we have one last question. Tracy Robinson would like to know, will all these substrates run through 7-color HP Indigo?
Yes.
Oh, great answer. So thank you everybody. Thank you GPA. You guys rock. You know you're my friends. We're gonna hang out at D-Scoop, and you're gonna make me sing songs apparently, and teach me how to use Scotch tape. So I appreciate that. And moving forward, I would just like to have everybody save the date, March 11th, our final webinar in this 6-part series, Special Effects and Finishing Techniques with Daniel Dejan of SAPI. pretty much this is like the fireworks of the fun stuff, the big finale that everybody waits for, the cool stuff to do on paper. So again, thank you everybody for attending. Thanks to GPA, Marianne, and Trina, I know you're back there somewhere, and